Happy Tuesday, game makers. I'm going to change gears a little bit. I was thinking about introducing a boss to the game, but I'm finding out that that's probably a whole week's worth of videos. And I'd really like to wrap up what you need to know about Game Maker as far as this game goes this week. So, what I want to do is I just want to show you how you might import something from this sprite sheet. Um, I know earlier I imported these three frames into my boss. I've also imported this one, and I just want to show you how incredibly easy it is to use GameMaker to do this sort of work. GameMaker 1.4, this was not this easy. This was actually a little bit of a pest, but I'm going to go ahead and show you how to do this. I've got my sprite sheet opened in Paint, just using a very simple program. I'm going to select, and I'm going to go ahead and import this green guy here, or girl, depending, who knows. So I'm going to go ahead and select it. I'm going to go ahead and crop it, and I'm going to save it. I already tried to do this once. It didn't quite work out as way I wanted. So you'll be like, wait a minute, you've already done this. Yeah, but I'm going to be more successful this time. So when I go to import, so I already created SPR new boss. So that's what I'm going to call him. Um, let's see, where are my import options here? Um, I'm going to import images, but I'm going to, I want to convert them to frames. But the first thing I got to do is actually get the those in here. Now you can see it loads them as one single sprite, and that's no good. That's not going to be helpful to us. So I need to come up, I need to edit this and make it into frames. So I'm going to convert to frames, and you can see that it needs to know the number of frames. In this case, there's going to be 3. It needs to know how many frames per row. And in this case, rows go left to right, columns go up and down. So I have 3. I need to do a little bit of adjusting here for some things. So I'm going to adjust the horizontal separation a little bit, try to get those as centered as possible. Looks like I need to move it over just slightly. Um, where do I want to do that? Horizontal. So I need to move this guy over here. So I'm just figuring out where that needs to take place. So I need to move that just slightly. Looks like it's the horizontal pixel offset that I need to adjust. Okay. Now it's the separation seems to be too much, so I got to bring that back. And really, I'm just trying to center the plane into those frames. I'll convert, and let's see if it animates nicely. It does. GameMaker 1.4 was not this easy. You're going to have to take my word for it. But I do have a blue background I got to get rid of, and that's pretty easy too. I just come over here, choose the magic wand, click, and hit the delete key. Click the next frame, magic wand, get rid of that blue, magic wand, get rid of that blue. And that's all there is to it. That's how I've done, imported the buddy, which I have not programmed into my game, the boss, and some other things. I will give you a preview of the boss, although I have not quite figured out how to introduce him into my game, but I think that's a video for Thursday. Thursday we'll talk about timelines. Thursday is going to be our last video about this particular game. Um, but you can see how easy it was to take an image like this, crop it, and then import it into GameMaker 2. Way easier than GameMaker 1.4. Once you get it in, of course, you can program it like any object. I will show you, just give you a preview. My boss shoots a missile. He also shoots a bullet that comes towards the player. I just duplicated enemy bullet 1, and then instead of moving down the screen, I gave him a direction, and then all the other behavior was the same. So just to see what the boss looks like, the boss fight is actually pretty tough. He'll move down the screen. You can see that he does have his own health bar, and that's not too difficult to implement. He shoots a missile that does 50 damage, and then when he's damaged, he does produce some smoke to communicate to the player that he's almost dead. And then when he does die, it creates a series of 5 explosions. But that's a lot. But GameMaker 2 has done an excellent job of making it way easier to import sprites into your game. a huge pain to do in GameMaker 1.4. So that's a big upgrade, and it looks pretty good, and really makes it accessible to people. So all you need to know today is GameMaker 2 is superior when it comes to importing animated sprites. All you have to do is convert it to frames, which will be on the quiz. And once you do that, the programming's not that big of a deal, of course, if you have some experience. Just to give you an idea of what the boss does, the boss has a create event. He has three states: damaged, defeated, and in position. All of that stuff affects how he behaves in the step event. So let me just zoom out the step event. You can see there's quite a bit going on there. The alarm just chooses whether or not what kind of bullet he's going to shoot, and Draw GUI gives him his own health bar. Now, one thing that's interesting, uh, when you give health to an object, there's actually a different health type of variable. This was not in GameMaker 1.4. So set health is actually unique to this instance. So it's not the same as typing in health, which is of course a global variable that we use for the player. Uh, Very interesting, and I think it's more confusing for somebody learning to program, but whatever. So that's my video today. That's how you import something from a sprite sheet, make it animated. Thanks for watching. Um, no video tomorrow, but on Thursday we will introduce timelines.